Cut the music. Cut. I have been showing you my art, my creativity in all of these episodes, and I'm ready to take you behind the scenes. Let's go into the workshop of it all. These episodes have been about me showing you a creative outlook on life, right? I mean, I guess if you were to give me a title, maybe it would be like, oh, Jen's perspective artist or something, right? I give you different perspectives on life, perspectives on the obstacles in life or the choices in life, the decision making we have to do. So, in the last 9 episodes, by the way, we are officially double digits today, but the last 9 episodes, you've been walking around my art gallery, let's say, and you've been walking around listening to my pieces instead of looking at them, but you've been listening to them and you've been reflecting and you've been thinking about some things. That's what art does, right? It connects with something in your own story, in your own life. It moves you. But today I want to take you into, the workshop, the warehouse, the behind the scenes, where this all comes from. And I'm going to put it into your lap. I'm putting it into your driver's seat of what you're driving in your life. I think it's safe to say that if you've come this far in this podcast, or if you were referred here and this is your first time listening, I think it's safe to say that you're a pretty successful person. Like from the outside, people are like, yes, this person is dependable. This person has good work ethic. This person shows up. This person does the job well. And this person is well above average. In fact, when you are having a tough day or a tough week, your work then is still above average. That's what's gotten you where you are. Am I right? So why is it? If success is the goal, if success is the destination, why is it that you can sit in your seat right now, having reached success, yet still have that little feeling of meh? That feeling of life still feels a little flat. Some people call it like, I still got that little bit of boredom in me. Or some people call it burnout. There's burnout. But I think you get my point. We reach a standard that we create for ourselves and that we grow into. And then that's what we maintain that level of standard. And then after maintaining it for so long, it just becomes it's just what I do. That's just who I am. I mean, you can't unknow your experience, right? But when I say maintain, my theory is that maintenance is what gives that meh feeling. We're just maintaining a standard. Forget about how it looks from the outside. Just forget other people are like, oh, it must be nice to just be great. Must be nice that your success level is up here. Forget that. This is about you and your lived experience, the hard work it's taken to get to where you are. And why is there that whisper? Why is there that unsettled, flat, something's missing? Or maybe that question we go, is this it? Is this what life comes to? Is just this plateau where now I just kind of ride it out? I just stay on repeat. I'm doing the usual standard that I now have myself on, maintenance. My theory is you've heard me talk a lot about my core motto, my core theory of, creator, created, creation, you and I and everything else that's been created to create or to continue to create or to create again. Like it's our duty, right? You've heard me talk about that. So what if the opposite of that flatness or that plateau or that boredom or burnout? What if the opposite of that is simply creating, to create again? It took creating, being innovative, being, let's say, artistic in the way that you think. You had to explore, you had to discover, you had to do all of those things in order to get to where you are. And now you're maintaining. It's fallen a little flat. It's still good. It's still good work that you're putting out. You're still creating strategies. You're still doing, but you're not necessarily creating, are you? If you're just maintaining what you originally created. Okay, so I'm a little embarrassed to tell you this. In fact, I'm also a little nervous that maybe one of my ex-employers will even hear this. But that silent flatness in my life is what made me want to move my family into a whole new state multiple times, because I would start from the bottom, work my way up, reach the ceiling, and man, that need to create more and go beyond and go further, like reaching that ceiling had like a chokehold on me. Like, I gotta go. I gotta go somewhere else. It would hurt their feelings if I went somewhere else nearby. And that's not the reason I would want to do this or want to create that competition. This is for me. I need to create something bigger. I need to continue creating and not be in this reach the ceiling and then just maintain. And so when opportunities were floating around us, opportunities that sat in other states, I was like, let's go. Let's do it. Let's jump on these opportunities. Because that's going to give us an opportunity where we get to start all over. We get to create again. We get to be small again and grow into, like there's room to grow. If we start closer to the floor, we've got all of this to grow before we're going to get to the ceiling. I'm already sitting at a ceiling and I'm getting stir crazy. I know this is making my past employers just cringe hearing me say this. I'm sorry, it wasn't personal. It's something I needed to do for me. But anyway, so creativity, let me tell you what it's not. It's not just wall art. It's not your DIY projects at home. It's not Etsy. It's not Hobby Lobby. Yes, it includes those things. But when you get into the state of creating, get in the state of being a creator of your own life, living in creativity of your own life. It's not artsy in the way that our modern culture tells us it is. And in fact, one of my favorite things to do is call people out and be like, oh my gosh, you're so creative. They're like, right. I don't have a creative bone in my body. If you were created, then you naturally have creativity. Listen, I thought I was just a survivalist, but turns out I was strengthening my creativity skills all along. I was actually becoming a life artist. And you get it. You get it. I know that you get it because you yourself are successful. You've had to survive a lot of things. You've had to get creative on surviving things, simply just on managing personal life with professional life. We're going through shit on the inside while we're showing up on the outside professionally, right? We're growing as individuals. We are growing through relationships. We're learning relationships. We're learning parenting. We're learning through trial and error life skills while trying to show up professionally and doing a damn good job at it. The better we get at that, the better of a survivalist we're becoming. And underneath that is massive creativity skills. Just sharpening. We're refining those creativity skills and we didn't even know it. So when I'm showing up to these episodes and I have this creative outlook on life or a creative way to look at a life problem different or through a different lens, through a different perspective, it's simply because I've learned the art of living. And you have too. You can bring just as much robust outlooks on life to the same conversations. You just might have your own artistic version of it. Just like if you and I were painting the same picture on two pieces of canvases, the objects in the picture will be the same, they'll just be done a little bit differently. So what does this do for others outside of us? What changes when you bring that that creative energy into work, let's say, into your relationships, into parenting, into your leadership roles, into the things you're leading? What do others get out of it? Well, let me ask you this. What have you gotten out of the last 9 episodes? I'm bringing creativity to our conversations. I'm bringing creativity to different ways to look at life. I'm bringing creativity to the fact that we could just, as I shared before, we could just be alive, but I'm bringing creativity to the idea of not just being alive, but to be actually living. As I quoted before, like, we think we're living, but we're only alive. So it's like, how do we get that back then? How do we get back to that living? And I've talked about creating. If we're creating, and if that really is the circulation in our body, the circulation of life moving again, and that we're conscious and present, creating the life we want to be living in. We're purposeful about the conversations we're having. We're alive and living in the things we notice, even if it's just on your drive to work or on your drive home. Noticing things in nature, noticing that the colors are changing, that the flowers are blooming. They weren't blooming yesterday. We're creating, we're feeling creation, we're noticing creation. By listening to last episodes, you're feeling that creativity in your veins. You're feeling that blood pumping, a new circulation. You're moving differently. You're moving more deliberately. You're coming into a fork in the road, let's say, and you might handle it a little bit differently now. Maybe you're going to ask a big life question. You're going to ask it. You're going to return it with 5 more questions. You're going to lean into it. You're going to want to know more about that fork in the road instead of avoiding it or just letting the fork in the road design your life for you. So what do others get out of it when you're the one bringing this creativity, bringing these conversations in, leaning into the curiosity of the things that other people are bringing to a conversation, the curiosity of how other people are doing things, bringing creativity to a project, bringing creativity to finding a new strategic way to do something, bringing creativity to a new system, a new way of doing things. I think it's obvious that it helps everyone else. And it might be a little bit of a blood transfusion to them too. You're like, oh, that's brilliant. One of my favorite things to see in our world of, not just technology, but just the ways that people do things and the ways that people think is like someone brings a great idea. Now that inspires another great idea from somebody else to add on top of that. We'll see potato chips came out, plain potato chips. Well, now we've got barbecue potato chips. Now we've got salt and vinegar potato chips. Now we've got ranch potato chips. We've got onion. We've got, like it goes on and on. Because the idea is it's just a ripple effect. That original creativity turned into someone else's creativity and someone else's and someone else's. It's contagious. And if we're all living in a creating mode versus this maintenance mode of, someone invents the potato chip and then it just lands and then you go, okay, well, I guess for the next 50 years, we're just going to keep producing potato chips. And nobody else thinks of another great idea. That's not what happens. But it is so easy to get caught in the maintenance and we stop creating. And I think your hope of what others get out of it is that they also continue to create. You ignite them with that spark of creativity. I mean, I'm thinking about this at work, You bring them that spark of creativity, and now they take the torch and they bring their own creativity. And I'm thinking about, like, even in a team situation, we all have our own bits and pieces, our own unique artistic abilities or things that we geek out on. Like if somebody on the team is obsessed with organizing, oh my gosh, what a gift to have somebody like that on the team. Utilize that. They think it's their own little geeky thing. They feel like they're in a candy shop when they're in a Office Depot. There's so much to organize in a team project. We need those people. Let them be, instead of calling them an organizer, whose lame idea was it to add ER or OR to the end of a job title? That's the most boring thing you could have done. That person is an organizing artist. Give it to them. Or what about, the hairdresser? No, they're a hairdressing artist. I specifically like calling them a hair artist. Or what about the teacher? The teacher. Gosh, that's so boring. They're a teaching artist. They master delivering that information. How about a manager? Manager. That's no fun. They're a momentum artist. They're managing projects to keep the momentum going. They're a momentum artist. Doesn't that just feel delicious? Who wants to be called a manager? A business owner. Business owner. They're a business owning artist. They're good at this. They've mastered a lot of ways. They've refined a lot of systems. They've crunched numbers. They've created budgets. They've created services or products. They've created ways for people to buy into what they're offering. You hear this, like they're creating. That is just a slap in the face to somebody who's created such mastery, such artistry. And to live in a world where we call artists crafty, they're the Hobby Lobby people. Sometimes they're that too. It's a DIY thing. No, it's in all of us and all the things that we do. It might start as a DIY because you needed to organize your kitchen, or you needed to come up with a creative email, or you needed to train a new employee. You had to create your way the first time, and then you created new ways, and then you created new systems, then you created new ways to deliver, and you got so good at it that you mastered it. Your communication skills became an art. Your productivity became an art. That thing that began as just creating a checklist, you mastered productivity. You took it to work. You became successful. You thought you were surviving. You thought you were just getting through this one thing. But then you realized you were creating, and you kept creating until you mastered a creation, until people started coming to you to learn the mastery that you've created, to get a bite of that creation, to have services done by you, to buy from you because of the creation that you produce, because of the mastery you have, because of you being a freaking artist at what you do. Creator, created, creation, you, to create, to continue to create, and now to create again, create again, create again. You get to create again. If you're feeling that whisper, that flatness, that I don't know what this is. Is it burnout? Am I tired of doing this? Should I be looking onto something else? Am I bored? No, you're just in maintenance. You're just on repeat. You're not creating. You're repeating what you once created. Let me ask you this. What if you're more creative than you think? What if you have more to create? What if there's more things in you that want to be created? What if we came here with a list of things that we are to create? What if there's an artist hiding in your job title? Is it possible that life could feel vital? It could feel like you're actually living, not just alive? Is it possible that you could go from just surviving, just doing the thing, doing the mundane, I'm alive, that you can move from that to like, oh, I am vital. I am active. My circulation is pumping. I am creating and I am living on purpose. What if we don't need motivation? We just need circulation. Ooh. Oh, the way that feels in my body right now. Motivation, that's an injection. That'll wear off in a couple weeks. But getting your blood flowing again, getting that circulation moving in your body, gets you moving, gets your life moving, gets the people around you moving. Creating. As long as you're creating, there is circulation. We don't want to just be alive. We want more than that. That's why we've got that, like, is this it? Just be alive and go through the daily routines? No, we don't want to just be alive. We didn't come this far to only come this far. We want to be living. We want to feel every heartbeat. So look around. Look around this whole behind the scenes thing. Look around this workshop, this warehouse. Now look in yours. Look in your warehouse. You're not missing anything to be living presently and more alive in your life. You're not missing anything. You've got all the ingredients already from every obstacle that you have survived. You're a survivalist. When I say survive, I don't just mean, oh, I think about it like as an athlete. I've always been an athlete, and I think about, well, let's just go with softball season. By the end of a season, hopefully I have gained some skills, I've strengthened some skills. My stats are a little bit better, at least a little bit better. And my wins and losses, I've got more wins than losses, right? To me, that's somebody who's a survivalist. They didn't just end with, oh, my numbers were the same as last year, same amount of wins as losses, like just end up at ground zero. No, you ended up above. You've got extra ingredients from every single season that you mastered and ended up with something more to take on to the next season. You've got a whole warehouse of those ingredients. There's nothing you're missing. You don't need to have necessarily a new job or have to move out of state. We just need to create from the ingredients we already have. Take those ingredients in your kitchen and start cooking. Cook up that next creation. We get so tied to having this, as I talked about before about that forever culture. We get so tied to this, like, oh, we need to get to this destination. We need to land, and then we ride it out. Ride it out, that's flat. And that's exactly why we feel flat. Ride it out, that's a plateau. That's exactly why we feel like we're on a plateau. Ride it out, that's a flat walk. What fun is that? I'm not going to be stronger at the end of that. My quads aren't going to feel stronger at the end of that. Where the land is flat, you've got the full view the whole time. What are you working for then? No, we want to go up, we want to go down, we want to curve, we want to do all the things so that we can see all the different views that we're working for. That's being in creation mode. That's being the creator you came here to be. Walking in a straight, flat line, you look around and you go, that's it? That's all this is? Yeah, what you see is what you get. That's maintenance mode. But do you know what this is? You know what this, here, us getting together? This is us walking each other home. Home to ourselves, this return place, this inner creative, this inner artist, this place where we lived and created from our body like when we were kids. We talk about connecting with our inner child. But what about connecting with that inner artist? That curious, nerdy side of you? Who cares if it's weird? I saw a quote the other day that said, heal so hard that it makes you weird again. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Bring that back. That's the inner child. It's that inner artist. Getting good at something because it makes you feel good. I remember my little sister getting up in the middle of the night and organizing her sock drawer. That's some weird shit. But I like it. That's what we need to return to. And just keep creating. I'll tell you what. We've walked this far. I'm walking you home. You're walking me home. Go into your warehouse. See what ingredients you've got there. Decide what you're going to create next. I'm going to go into my warehouse. I'm going to see what I'm going to create next. At least for my next episode, right? So that when you come by the gallery next week and you listen to the next episode, I'll have something that I've created to bring to the world in the same way that you're bringing your creations to the world. And together on this walk, we create again. We fulfill our duties to be creation, to become creators, to be the creators we're wired to be, and to create again and create again and create again. And know that when that whisper creeps up on us, it's because we've landed in a maintenance mode where we're repeating the old creations. And that's the indicator that says, hey, it's time to create something again. Thanks for being here. Thanks for going behind the scenes with me. Thanks for seeing and hearing my creative side of life that's brought me to the creations you're listening to every week. As I just talk about life, as I bring the ingredients that came from the life that I've been creating. I'm excited to see what you create next, knowing it won't be the last thing you create, because we live in circulation now, right? All right, cool. You can play that music again now.